Welcome to Unapologetically Badass, the podcast for women over 40 who are done dimming their light. I'm your host, Renee Fleming, coach, queen, and master of the midlife glow up. Solo chats, epic guests, no filter. Let's freaking go. Hello. I am so excited for our next guest. Hello, Alison. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm really stoked to be here. Honestly, this is great.
I'm so thrilled. So everyone, welcome back to another fabulous episode of Unapologetically Badass. I am thrilled to share this next story of Stop Performing, Start Being. Alison Keutgen on authenticity, female entrepreneurship, and get this, building the Chlōq fragrance brand. I'm so thrilled. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So tell us first of all about Chlōq, and then we're going to go through how the hell you got there. But tell us about your fragrance.
Right. I think it's been a journey like everyone goes through, right? It's just part of life. So Chlōq is a new fragrance brand that I'm soft launching right now. And I'm starting with 3 stories. So it's a little bit different than just traditional fragrance. It is clean fragrance, so we don't use any harmful chemicals and all that good stuff. And it's a really lovely product. But the brand itself is based off of stories. So each scent has a story, and every story has a soundtrack. And the goal is to take those components and mix that with what we know about the olfactory system and being able to tie to memories and narratives and things of that nature, and use the scent, story, and sound as a catalyst to create that environment to help women rewrite narratives that no longer serve them. So I got kind of tired of hearing the interwoven feedback of not feeling enough, feeling too much. It's my personal favorite.
Right.
And it shows up in a lot of ways, in a lot of context. And I thought, what better way to help reignite those parts of ourselves that have maybe gone dormant, fell asleep, went out to lunch, didn't come back yet, and use scent, story, and immersive experiences to help reignite that when you need it. So we like to say that you don't just wear Chlōq. You read the story, maybe, get a little motivation there, pump up the sound, and really step into that energy when you need it most.
That's fantastic. So tell me, what do you mean by pump up the sound? Did you write music for each?
Yes. So each story has a soundscape. And if you go to the site on each of the fragrance separate pages right below the product images, you can hit a play button and you can listen to the story come to life as you also experience the fragrance. I think it sounds great in the car because you have the whole surround sound. So if anyone's, don't look it up while you're driving, of course, but it's also a great place to listen and immerse into the stories that each scent brings to life.
That's fantastic. I wrote a theme song for the podcast, but it became like, this is my theme song for all social media. Watch me rise. It's like that, me, right? Unapologetically that. Like, so I love that. I love that you wrote a song and you have it because people remember that and people remember stories versus just names of something. Right?
Absolutely. Yes. And I worked with some really amazing musicians that just completely brought it to life in ways that I wasn't even anticipating. So I'm really geeked about it. I'm excited to, start receiving feedback from people who are listening to them, and keep your eyes open. They're not on their own Spotify list yet, but it's something we're working towards.
Yes, that's what's really cool. When I was like, oh my gosh, girl, I'm on Spotify, Spotify, Apple, I'm on. So now, my oldest one is 26 and I'm going, if you she's not a big social media person, but I was like, you can use Watch Me Rise as your song for your reels, right? It's so cool. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I love your energy and like, okay, I'm going to try this. But what got you here? Like, what made you go, I'm going to create a fragrance empire?
Right. Yes, that is a lovely question. And I don't know that I answered the same way twice, but I don't think it was necessarily, some big aha. It was more of decades of talking to a lot of really amazing women, and also, of course, having my own experiences in this, not enough or inadequacy type space, right? And I am naturally kind of a curious person, and so I like to hear other people's stories and learn about them. And then also think outside of that and say, like, what got us here, right? If this many women are sharing very similar stories, very similar context around, not always feeling like they're worthy of certain things or experiences or just in general, right? How did we get here? And I started to dig into the research. And when you think back over, the history of women's rights and when we didn't have many rights, and what life was like back in the day of kind of being kept women or, raising families and not being allowed to work or not being allowed to drive, not being allowed to open your own bank account or have your own mortgage. These narratives start to make more sense, right? It's more conditioning based on culture and society over the last 100+ years. And so we're in a different world though, right? And today we do have a lot of rights, and we're so lucky for the people who came before us to make that happen. And hopefully we don't go backwards, right? And so how do we start to catch up the narratives to where we are today? And I honestly don't know how I thought of fragrance to be real. I enjoy it, but I thought, what can be one of the most powerful sensory experiences when you want to ignite something in yourself? And that's where fragrance came to mind, right? And I started doing the research down that path on what this would look like if Chlōq manifested into a fragrance brand. And here we are. It just didn't stop.
Wow. So when did you start?
Yeah, I started working on this. Let's see, I filed the LLC in the fall of 23, and I was working full time. I still am working full time on a separate business, to help kind of fund it all. And I love what I do with that other business as well, working with clients on different things that they need. So Chlōq's development has been a journey unto itself, just in how to balance all of it. And sometimes I joke that, my role by day is this, and my role by night and weekend is Chlōq. And I think that's a common story for a lot of female entrepreneurs that are trying to follow a passion or a mission, right? And kind of, decide what their future is going to be. A lot of times you do have to kind of parallel path things.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I love, is that no matter where we are in our journey, if we're like, hey, I have this thought. I mean, have you ever built a brand before, or you were like, I'm going to figure this out?
I had a leg up. My background is in innovation and product development, working for other brands. So I definitely had a great understanding of the components that go into it and how to, find the right partners and how to build the right stories and to build the brand up. So I'm very fortunate in that fact that my profession has given me a lot of the tools to equip me with at least a playbook to start with.
Right. And then now sourcing and distributing. So you ship to consumer. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, we're like right in it.
Yes.
We're building the snowball of momentum. And because I joke often with people I speak to, very recently, in some regard, I followed my own medicine, and in other regards, I did things that I would never have my clients do, like, linear paths, some of your sales and marketing activities with the development and operations. But being one individual and also having, daytime commitments to others and wanting to support that, there are so many hours in the day. And so Here we are. And so from that, the remaining inventory is arriving like this week. And so now it's time to, increase exposure and really start telling the story to the world. And, we'll be looking at an omni-channel approach. So I think different types of boutiques, this would be a really great fit for. Certain types of smaller retailers, it could be a great fit for. And then, of course, we do have an e-commerce platform as well, just for consumers who want to hop on and purchase something. So,
oh my gosh. So you're hiring a distributor, sales force, so you're like, I'm a one-woman show and I am out there
Well, right now it's a one woman show, but never say never, and we'll see how things flow. You know, I have spent time in the retail environment, so I am equipped to have, those conversations and feel confident about it. But yeah, for example, prime example, something I'm working on right now is a little care package for boutiques. And
Mhm.
so it'll come equipped with a beautiful marketing package they can unwrap with little vials of everything and a, QR coded video message from myself and ways, to easily contact and whatnot. And of course, I'll be following up with everybody. But so we'll see what happens. Honestly, I think like many female entrepreneurs, it's just a wild ride, and sometimes your best laid plans are not what gets executed.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I talk about this learning cycle, data synthesis decision, and you just keep making it. And it'll move you forward or sideways or up or down. But, if you keep in that circle, you'll get to where you're going and where you want to be.
Yes. I love that you decided to take that bold step that says, you know what, I'm going to build this. I'm going to build it on my own in my own time. And I respect that you have, your full-time commitments and doing this. What was your, friends and family? Were they like, yes, go out? Or they were like, you're fucking nuts.
I mean, I think you get all of it, right? You get all of it. And it's funny because a good friend of mine is also an entrepreneur and had started an apparel company in a completely different category. And we were talking about kind of this over this past weekend. And I said, it's funny because some of the people you think are no brainer, gonna have your back 120,000% are kind of like, great, and you get the dead eyes, right? And you're like, shit, you're not in this, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not in this with me. And others that you think it's just going to be like some afterthought, like they'll be like, yeah, that's cool, whatever, and they're all in, and they're asking how they can help. So it's interesting. I think I had the full mix across, friends and close friends and family of, everything from the that's great, honey,
Yeah.
to okay, so where do you want to go for dinner tomorrow?
Yeah.
To hey, great, I love this. Let me hook you up with these people, and how
Right.
can we help? So my
So
hope for
find,
all, yeah, go ahead.
no, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So
That's
the
okay.
people that are necessarily not like, yay, they're more like, good. Okay, yep, what's for dinner?
Sometimes you get the
How do you then shut that out, and how do you not let that interfere with your vision?
yes. It's not foolproof by any stretch. I think every entrepreneur, male or female, has those days where you might start out pretty level, something happens and you're 6 feet under, and then something happens and you rebound and you're, on a mountain. And so that's just the journey that there is. I would say that I try to remember to just keep the mission at mind, right? Like,
Yeah.
this was rooted in more conversations than I can count with what I was hearing from amazing women that deserve to have everything that they want in life, right? And so a lot of times when I have those moments of doubt, like, oh shit, like, what? I don't know. Is this a great idea? Is this not a great idea? Like, we'll see what happens. At least the product's really great. So if the story element doesn't take, then there's something to fall back on. But then I think back to the women and myself, my own experiences, right? And it's, this need is there. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if, I even have one person who says, I saw your post and it totally changed my approach for whatever, or I put my red lipstick back on, I just wiped it off and I decided it wasn't too much for a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, those are those little micro moments, those micro narratives that just stack and they multiply and they grow into something very subtle over time that you may not even realize, right? And you wake up one day and instead of the, narrative that no longer serves you, you're in a better, headspace and you're better to support yourself. So it's a long-winded answer to say, one, I don't know how I do it. And two, I remember the women that I've spoke to and what they deserve and let that drive, how I approach everything else.
I love it. And it's so true because we all go through those moments as entrepreneurs. That, we're like, what the hell am I doing this for? Am I nuts? I think I'm going to quit. I don't know. And then, there's something that's like, no, but there's something to this. Like I know in my gut, in my soul that I'm doing this for a better reason. And if I could reach that one woman, and it really is rewarding. I've had women come up to me or message me, whatever, and how like my story resonates with them and all of that. And there's nothing more greater other than obviously our kids, but there's it fills your cup. It makes you go like, okay, this is meaningful. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm an athlete and in sports and on other, teams and experiences, a lot of times I'll say like, I'm your biggest cheerleader, right? Like I can be that positive energy for you when either you don't have it or you need it or what have you. And so that's, another layer that I look at this is, and so part of what, with Chlōq, we have our tag, your everyday accomplice, right? If you need permission, we're going to give it to you. If you don't need permission, great, pass it along to someone else, right? And so it's that permission granted, because on occasion we all, and I've had this experience as well, for whatever reason, you're like, well, I don't know, should I do it this way or should we do it this way? And blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden someone injects and says, well, yeah, you're allowed to do it anyway. And you say, oh, right. Okay. And then you make a decision and you go. And so it's very similar with the narratives where sometimes you need someone to say, no, like you're completely allowed to wear whatever you want to the grocery store or your favorite lipstick, or to feel, if you walk out of the house on a Tuesday or Wednesday and you feel great about yourself, that's the goal, right? Don't start tearing off the necklace or the jacket because you're like, well, I don't know, I'm just going to this place or this is too much. Well, now you're going back into the old narrative, right? That's what we want to try to catch and say, you deserve to feel how you feel amazing. So throw it all back on, walk out the door and go own your earrings.
I love it. Own it, because you are totally unapologetically unleashing their inner badass queen. That's the whole, like no more shrinking, no more playing small, no more going. I had a conversation with a woman earlier and, I mentioned the word just right? I want that removed from all of our women's vocabulary. We are not just a mom. We are not just a this. Like, who am I to do that because I'm just a with bullshit. You are fucking amazing. You are a rock star. And you can do whatever the hell you want, when you want, how you want, wear what you want, be who you want to be.
Exactly. My other one that I love that is so timely right now is I could be wrong, but no, you say that. We all say that. I've said that before in meetings, right? And so it's amazing to me now to look back on it. And it's always on something that you really own the data on, right? Like, I'm not talking about the gray, everything's debatable stuff. I'm talking about those things that this is your domain, or you own the data at work, or you own the action, and you're like, you are correct. And yet you say, well, I could be wrong, but blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, just to soften their response or to soften what we think that they're perceiving.
Right. And it's not about that, right? Respecting someone makes them comfortable.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong, but is just manners dressed up as comfort, right? It's just a prefix that doesn't really serve anymore. And so, yeah, it's another great example of those little tiny things that you say, wait a sec, I can be polite and I can still own the fact that there's something factual about to come out of my mouth, right? We're not talking about disrespect. We're just saying, I don't think you need to shrink your knowledge or shrink yourself to just confidently and quietly own it.
Yep, exactly. Yep, no more shrinking our personality. And I recognize that, years ago, luckily, when I started more embracing of who I am. I used to like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm sorry. I know I swear. I'm sorry, and it's just like, fuck it. This is who I am. And if you don't like it, keep scrolling. It's fine. I'll find my people. I'm
Exactly.
unapologetic. I know I have a huge, like, it's, I'm not calling somebody an ass. Although I
Right.
often do underneath my tongue. But you know what I'm getting at. Like,
Yeah.
you're a good person. You have good intentions, but
Right.
we're not shrinking ourselves and our personalities.
When you think back to that moment that you, or those moments that you started to just, say, like, nah, I'm just going to own this. Like, what did that feel like for you?
Freeing.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, you know what? When you just literally release it and
Mhm.
stop putting the expectations that I had on myself of how I
Right.
should act and should be, I'm a multi-million-dollar sales organization. I've built this and I've done that. Like, that's not me. Once I've released it and go, I am who I am, fuck it,
Yeah.
it was literally 300 pounds weighted off of me. And I was just sharing this. I just had a conversation. I've been doing a lot of recordings today,
Mhm.
and I had a conversation. The woman had mentioned my book, and she has she turned her story into a comedy show. So I'm going to connect you with her.
Oh, awesome.
Hysterical, yeah. So you'll love her.
Oh, I can't
Um,
wait.
so her name is Merritt Khan, and she has a optimistically personality disorder comedy show.
Cool.
And so, but we were saying that when we wrote our story, and you would probably resonate with this, when I wrote the Unapologetically Badass story, it's my journey, but it was reflection points. Because after I hit the age of 50, and after the shit that I've gone through, I was like, okay, I'm going to write down all of that ish that
Mhm.
I went through. But then it was like, what did I learn from at each moment? It's like, oh, I learned so much from that hard time. And
Mhm.
then it became like, okay, I want reflection points. I just said, okay, I'm going to write a book, but I didn't want it to just be my like memoir, because
Right.
the shit about Renee, like what she did. But I wanted women to be able to see their stories through my journey and relate
Absolutely.
on that level. So, but once I wrote it all down, it became this freeing thing that I'm like, yeah, this is who I am, and I own it. The shit and everything, the bad, the good, the bad, the ugly, it is. But
And that's the beauty of it, that is also can be so difficult for a long time,
yeah,
right? Like, to arrive at that moment is partially just, where's my voice, right? And every time the one of those prefixes comes up and you say, is that my voice or is that someone else's voice? And it, again, it's one of those snowball effects that over time, and like you're mentioning right now, it's reflection and what are the lessons learned, and all of those layers start to peel away into who you are authentically, and being that just super comfortable in your skin, which is really beautiful. And that's the goal, right? That's the goal,
yeah.
what we're all trying to do.
And I love that you're doing that through sensory, through a fragrance, and but
Mhm.
more than just a fragrance, it's storytelling. And
Yeah.
it's so women can have that every day. They spritz
Mhm.
it on and they know unapologetically who they are. Can you tell us the
Right.
name of each of the fragrances that you have
Yes.
currently?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. And I would say, even before I do that, that, I think my other hope with the brand, that over time, as women, are immersing in them and hopefully making them their own, and hopefully helping me and the brand expand that character development on each of the stories,
Yeah,
right? Because they're stories, so they need to take a stance, and they do. But there's so much opportunity for every woman to be able to also tell their version of it, and how what part they connected to, or how they've evolved and all of that stuff. So anyways, okay, so we have three. I think they're equally favorites. I don't know that I have a favorite, but we have intoxicating, which is a little bit self-explanatory. The story is around really stepping into that magnetism, right? Owning it. It's your quiet confidence and just knowing that you feel great about yourself. And it's a lovely scent. I honestly wear it every day a lot because We don't have any UV blockers or endocrine disruptors. It's a nice, soft, not overpowering, but has a long wear. And so we have gardenia in there, a little bit of water lily, and skin musk. So it starts sweet and a little floral, and then kind of balances out a bit to the musk side. And I would say men also tend to like that.
Mm-hmm.
I had some great feedback from friends, partners, male partners. And so it seems to be a crowd pleaser for all. And
which is then tied perfectly to the word intoxicating.
It does, right?
Yep.
That was the goal out of it. And so far we have some data that suggest, and anecdotes that suggest we're, close to that mark. And then we have Boardroom Badass, which is also probably one of my favorite stories. And it's a little also self-explanatory. We see imposter syndrome a ton. I've experienced plenty of it. And and it's a real thing. And it's about remembering that you earned it. And, you've earned that seat at the table. And when you can get centered around that fact, you can walk in with that confidence that's not overbearing or, crazy, but just that centered place where you're like, no, I belong here and I get it. And we'll deal with what we got to deal with, in a boardroom that has a certain makeup, but really stepping into that power and that ownership that you belong there because you've earned it. And so this one, we have jasmine water, orris butter, and solar musk. And for me, it's a little more sweatery, but it also, I've received feedback that it makes you want to move, right? Like it's dynamic. And so I think it's a really great fit for Boardroom Badass because it just kind of has that elevation to it. Mm-hmm. So that's a fun one. And then we have Unleashed. And Unleashed is a cool story, especially for myself, to be honest, because I ride motorcycles and I just wanted one for women in power sports and motorsports. And it can absolutely stretch to other male-dominated spaces. And so it's a little bit more of that grit, dust, leather, gasoline type. And so we have gunpowder notes, leather milk, and lily smoke. And what I love about it, and what has also been surprising to me, because that can be a polarizing palette, right? Yeah. I did not expect everyone to, love it. I expected very, that love or hate it type. Yeah. And we have a little bit of that. But the lily smoke, that sweetness carries as it kind of settles down and dries in. So it ends up, I've had other women try it that had no identification with power sports, to be honest, and they felt it was also very seductive and they really enjoyed it. So it's got a cool little scent palette there that has been a little surprising, but super fun. And so, Unleashed is that story around women in power sports, and that's what the scent's like. So those are the three I'm starting with.
You have a bottle right there with you, do you? Show us what the bottle looks like.
That would have been so timely, wouldn't it have been? But I have been in back-to-back meetings.
That's okay. That's okay. It's all good.
Did not even think of it. So
that's okay.
I remembered my headphones and all of that. And wow.
I totally get it. Hey, that's all right. Now it's going to, you know what? So now we've just intrigued people more. First of all, I can't wait to get my hands on it. And when
samples.
Thank you. When we connected through, online, and I started reading your stories and stuff, and I'm like, okay, badass. I use Unleash, like, holy shit, like the synergy between you and I'm like, I love this woman. I'm like, this is great. I love her passion. So no, this is.
I thought the same thing when I saw your show. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
This is somebody, and you're talking about, because you're a CPG brand, trying to get into, some stores and boutiques and stuff like that. I have a woman that I'll give her a shout out because I just adore her too. Heather Roberts. She is Mom Bomb, helps moms.
Cool.
And you should definitely connect with her, and I'll send you her. She's really a wonderful woman. She is working hard with her mom bombs, and she's such a great resource because she's building a CPG business as well, and she might be able to give you some insight.
I would love that. Yeah, that's great. We do have 3 other stories, so a total of 6 stories, but they're still in development. And those are Radiant, which is a little bit more of that everyday wear, everyday spark, right? When you kind of just need a little bit of light. And then we have Mightyful, which reminds me of her because it's kind of we're trying to do it all, right? Trying to be a supportive, either partner, mom, business partner, I mean, whatever, and still not lose our own ambitions and, our own goals on top of it. And then we also have Peloria, and that is just crawling out of the ashes. That's the one where you're like, I can't tell if the light is a train or the light at the end of the tunnel, but we got to keep moving, right? One baby step at a time, you're going to crawl your way out. So more to come with those, but that's the whole line. That's the whole set right now.
When do you expect the other 3 to launch? You looking for 26 or next year?
I'm hoping closer to the end of this year. They all have, the formulas are in development, but we're just not quite there yet. So it just depends on, how long that takes. But I would love to start getting a couple of them out towards fall time. So.
That's wonderful. And do you produce that in the U.S. or abroad?
Yeah, U.S. Yep.
Wow.
Everything's on the East Coast, actually.
Oh, so am I. Do you live on the East Coast?
I don't. I live in Michigan.
Okay.
Grand Rapids. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wonderful. I'm on the East Coast in Rhode Island.
Oh, great. Yeah. Awesome.
Yes.
I used to have to travel there for a past life.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little state. That's
is.
For sure.
Absolutely is.
So where can people connect with you? With it? Can they learn more?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we're on socials, definitely. Of course, Meta. So Chlōq, CHLOQ on Facebook, and then Chlōq Official on Instagram. We have TikTok that it's on my list to get going, right? And it's not quite there yet. So any TikTok people, please reach out because I will absolutely take some help. And then YouTube also is just kind of in its infancy, and of course our site, and then Substack as well. So on our website, Chlōq.com, CHLOQ.com, there's kind of two blog aspects to it. So we take longer form blog where we're kind of writing about a lot of, dissecting how we got here, right? And some of the cultural side of things. And then we also have different fragrance journeys. So there's shorter series, shorter quips that dive into more of intoxicating, boardroom badass, and unleashed stories. So either on the site or Substack are also a great place to kind of immerse into the story element of it as well.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Okay, so everyone go follow Chlōq.
Yeah.
Connect with them. Be sure to connect on all socials and send this episode to somebody who really needs to get this inspiration. And also go shop Chlōq fragrance and get your favorite scents. And I can't wait to hear what you think of it. Be sure also what is totally free for people to do is to follow on social and share. So if you purchase the fragrance, and I really and truly hope that you do, I know I am, make sure that you tag them as well. So that is a beautiful free thing to do. We, as business owners, we definitely appreciate it. But before we close this out, how did you come up with the name Chlōq?
Well, that's probably one of those branding opportunities too that I didn't quite tie the bow on. It's a cloak, right? The fragrance is your ability to cloak in whatever you need in that moment and in that day. And so I had to spell it funny because you can't trademark, the real Chlōq. So that again was the inherent risk, but here we are, and we'll make it work.
I think that's beautiful. And have you gone through the trademark process?
Yep. Yeah. Everything's good. Everything's done.
Oh, it's such a pain in the ass.
I know.
I was like, it took me 3 freaking years to finalize Badass Queen. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's an art and some of a science. And yeah, at one point my attorney just said, you got a 50-50 shot. There's so
Right.
much change going on right now. We'll see what happens. And so, yeah, we made it through the process, thankfully.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you own it. It's your property.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing. I am super proud of you. I know we just met, but I'm like, I think this is fantastic. So everyone, again, please go take a look, support Alison, the Chlōq brand, and I can't wait to hear what your favorite stories are. And so
yeah, and don't hesitate to reach out in the DMs or connect with me on any of those platforms. I love to connect with other women and hear your story. And another element that hasn't started is a Chlōq podcast. So maybe you could be a guest once I get that rolling. I just ran out of, again, hours in the day, but hopefully Q2 and beyond, we'll start to get that rolling because, again, want to give women a platform to be able to share their amazing stories and, share the wealth, right? Share the knowledge wealth.
Yeah, like they always say, the rising tide lifts all boats, and that's why we're doing this, right?
That's what we want to do.
Yep, help other women. It's all good. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure.
Yes, and everyone, again, please go take a look. Stay tuned for the next Unapologetically Badass. I am thrilled to continue to bring such amazing women into all of our lives. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Wrap for today, Queen, but don't just walk away inspired, walk away activated. If this episode lit a fire under your fabulous ass, hit that follow button, leave a review, and share it with your fiercest ride or die. Your support helps this podcast reach even more women who are ready to reclaim their power. And hey, if you're ready to look, feel, and earn like $1 million freaking bucks, I've got an entire badass empire waiting for you. From confidence boosting merch to brand strategy, coaching, collagen, content, and everything in between, head on over to reneecarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn midlife into your power era. Stay bold, stay unapologetic, and wear the damn crown.